Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this info on the go.
answering questions you may not want to know.
Well, this is probably one of those ones you may want to know.
It is. But,
Yeah,
in case you don't, here it is
absolutely.
anyway.
And even if it's not one you want to know, maybe it's something someone else you know may want to know.
Right.
Okay. All right. Kat, we've done a lot of episodes around cocaine. We've done fentanyl. What else have we done? Opioids.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we you and I kind of stepped back and talked about, where do people go for help and is somebody that we know, a friend of a friend, kind of send in this request. Uh so today on Info on the Go, we're going to do the history of AA, NA, and Al-Anon. These programs are meant to help those suffering from addiction, whether it be alcoholism, narcotics, or family members with those suffering from addiction.
Right. And there's even a program for the loved ones of those fighting the fight, Al-Anon.
Yeah. So, so today, um, we're going to be talking about all three different programs: AA, NA, and Al-Anon.
And we'd like to start with the history first. So we'll start with NA as it was the first program, and then NA and then Al-Anon would come a little later.
Alcoholic Anonymous is better known as AA, right?
Right. And it's a remarkable story of hope and recovery.
Yeah, so this one begins in the 1930s during the Great Depression and has grown into a worldwide movement.
So, here we're going to give an overview of its origins and evolution. But first, in the 1930s, the concept of alcoholism was evolving and the treatment of alcohol addiction was changing. And the end of the prohibition led to the formation of the modern concept of alcoholism, which views addiction as a disease. Factoid.
Yeah, alcoholism is a disease. During this time, physicians prescribed cocaine, marijuana, and other drugs that were extremely addictive. Um, and this was for physical interventions like blistering, bleeding, mercury poisoning, all to treat alcoholism. Bromide sleep treatments were used for narcotic withdrawals, but it killed about 20% of the patients. So, uh, Kat, exactly what were these treatments?
So, bromide was a type of sedative medication that has been used to help people sleep. The bromide compounds, such as potassium bromide, were once common ingredients on over the counter products. However, they are no longer widely used because of their toxicity. Bromides are still used today to treat epilepsy in dogs.
Oh, wow. So, a physician noting that alcohol intake decreased among his patients that were suffering active stages of gonorrhea and recommended medically infecting alcoholics with gonorrhea as a way to save the expense of sanitarium treatment. Well,
Oh,
it,
so you can't really have an addiction if you're asleep all the time. And I
well,
suppose you really don't want one if you're having an STD.
yeah, no, and hey, you know what? We'll just give you gonorrhea and save the money for you being in an insane asylum because basically that's the sanitized version of what they were doing.
Uh, Somewhat sanitized, but yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. Um, So now that we know the crazy ways alcoholism was being treated, we can kind of start to understand the innovation of Alcoholics Anonymous, or AA, as we're going to call it from here on out. In 1935, AA was co-founded by Bill Wilson. In the big book, he's known as Bill W. And he was a New York stockbroker. And Robert Smith, also known as Dr. Bob in the big book, he was a physician from Akron, Ohio.
And both men were struggling with alcoholism and had failed to maintain sobriety through existing methods. And Bill Wilson's inspiration came in 1934. He had a spiritual awakening while being treated for alcoholism at Towns Hospital in New York City. And influenced by the teachings of the Oxford Group, a Christian fellowship emphasizing personal transformation and service to others, he realized that helping other alcoholics might be key to his own recovery.
Yeah, so the Oxford group was a spiritual movement based on the four absolutes of honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love. So in 1935, Bill W. he traveled to Akron, Ohio on business. While there, Bill connected with Dr. Bob through a mutual acquaintance, and they shared their stories well with each other.
And together they discovered the power of mutual support in maintaining sobriety. Bill W. and Dr. Bob began working with other alcoholics and their approach evolving into the 12-step program that is central to AA. Now, during this time, they helped more than 40 men recover from alcoholism, which may not sound like a lot, but that's a lot for the time.
Yeah, I mean, so they're doing this without using bromide or being in a sanitarium, right?
Right, or gonorrhea.
Yeah, yeah, or gonorrhea, absolutely. And what other crazy treatments, mercury and everything else they were pumping into these people. Um, so AA, the story of how more than 100 men have recovered from alcoholism. Well, it's commonly known as the Big Book, right? So my question is, do you know why it was called the Big Book?
No.
Well, we have a factoid here. Because of the thickness of the paper used in the first edition, that's why it's called the Big Book.
Factoid. So, The Big Book, a 1939 foundational text on recovery from alcoholism, written primarily by AA co founder William G. Or Bill W. Wilson, with contributions from Hank Parkhurst and input from co founder Dr. Bob Smith. It outlines the 12-step method, now widely used to treat various addictions. It emphasizes spirituality and social support. The book introduced concepts like God as we understand him to accommodate diverse beliefs.
And I think that's a big call out here. God as the reader understands God. So they didn't want to put like the emphasis on one God or anything like that. It's the higher power that's over you is really
Right,
what they were going after.
right. Whatever is true for that person is true for them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Bill W., he began writing the book in 1938 with the financial backing from Charles B. Towns, aiming to disseminate AA's recovery approach, which had already helped over 40 men maintain sobriety for over 2 years. And much of the work was completed at the Calumet Building in Newark, New Jersey, with uh, with secretarial assistance from Ruth Hawk. The book initially was self-published, uh, has undergone multiple editions, multiple translations, and multiple updates, including contributions like Marty Mann's chapter and Women Suffer Too.
Right. And it's a bestseller with over 30 million copies sold. The Big Book is recognized as one of the most influential texts in American history. It is freely available online and continues to guide recovery efforts worldwide. Significant milestones include the presentation of its millionth copy to President Richard Nixon and the 25th million copy and the 25th 25 millionth copy to the warden of San Quentin Prison, commemorating the first AA prison meeting.
I know that 25th millionth copy. I don't know how you would say that, right? 25 millionth copy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went with.
That works for me. Um, So its impact was further underscored when the American Medical Association received the 30 millionth copy, marking its recognition of alcoholism as an illness. And so the 12 steps of Alcoholic Anonymous or AA are a set are a set of spiritual principles designed to guide individuals in their recovery from alcoholism. They emphasize personal accountability, spiritual growth, and helping others. And before Kat and I outline these 12 steps, we're going to take a small break. And now that we're back, Kat, why don't we just take these? Um, you do one, I do one. How about
Sounds
that?
good. Sounds
Okay.
good. Did you say the emphasis of personal accountability?
Yes,
You probably did. Okay.
that was before the break.
I just wanted to make sure. So in so step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol or substance and that our lives had become unmanageable.
Step two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity.
And step three, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him.
Step four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves.
Step five, admitted to God and to ourselves and to other human beings the exact nature of our wrongs.
Step six, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character.
Step seven, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings.
Step eight, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all.
Number nine, or step nine, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others.
And step 10, continued to take personal inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out.
Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and other addicts and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. I think before we would go on, in this program, you would have a sponsor, somebody that you could reach out to that would help you work these steps, somebody that has worked the steps or whatever that would help you understand and commit to each one. And they don't necessarily have to be done in order, uh, but in order to overcome, and I think Bill and Dr. Bob really came up with these to help others understand those they had wrong and how to help them course correct.
Right.
Okay.
So now we have some important points about these 12 steps. The reference to God or a higher power is meant to be interpreted personally, allowing for a variety of spiritual or secular beliefs.
Yeah. So the steps emphasize self-reflection, personal growth, and making amends from past harms, right? So they are designed to be a lifelong process, offering ongoing guidance and support for recovery.
And many other recovery programs like Overeaters Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous have adapted these steps to address various forms of addiction and compulsive behaviors. And by 1939, AA had about 100 members.
So wow, within inside of a year.
Right.
Um, so the movement it started to gain national attention after an article was published in the Saturday Evening Post in 1949, and that led to a rapid increase in membership.
By the mid 1940s, AA groups were established across the U.S. and began to spread internationally.
Anonymity. From the start, anonymity was a core principle of AA, helping members feel safe, sharing their struggles without fear of judgment or stigma. And we need to be clear about that. Anonymity is at the core of this. So if you go to a group and you see Judge Pat sitting over there and Sheriff Gene, you can't announce that to anybody because that is the core principle of the group.
Right. Now, AA today is a global fellowship with millions of members in more than 180 countries. Its structure remains decentralized with no governing authority, and individual groups operate autonomously.
Yeah, so AA has inspired countless other 12-step programs for addiction recovery, including Narcotics Anonymous and Al-Anon. And Al-Anon it's for family members of addicts or people struggling with the disease of addiction.
And it emphasizes on mutual support and spiritual growth, which has profoundly influenced how society views and treats addiction. AA continues to provide a lifeline for people seeking sobriety, and its core message is that recovery is possible through shared experience, accountability, and personal transformation.
So the history of Narcotics Anonymous or NA, it's deeply rooted in the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous or AA, and follows a similar path of growth, community support, and the power of shared recovery. Emergence from AA in 1947, the first known attempt at creating a group um, just for drug addicts occurred in Lexington, Kentucky, at a federal narcotics hospital. The group drew inspiration from AA, but struggled to gain traction from um, from outside the institution.
In the initial formation in 1953, Narcotics Anonymous, as we know it, was officially founded in Southern California by Jimmy Kay, an addict who had found recovery through AA. And Jimmy Kay recognized the need for a program tailored to people recovering from drug addiction and not just alcoholism.
Yeah, so NA faced significant struggles in its early days. One was the stigma of drug addiction, which was highly stigmatized in the 1950s, and many communities resistant to host they really resisted hosting these NA meetings. So, in contrast to AA, NA lacked a comprehensive text like the Big Book, which kind of made it harder to really formalize its program and attract members. I can understand that because drugs. Here's my way of thinking. Okay, so alcohol is it's legal, right, for you to be able to buy, and people are thinking that narcotics. Well, if he's a drug addict or if he's hooked on a narcotic, he's on an illegal substance. But what they're failing to really realize is you have prescription drugs that you can become addicted to.
Right.
So, the stigma, it's not really realized in what the true core root of the problem really was during this time.
For many years, NA remained a small, scattered movement struggling to establish a strong identity separate from AA. But in the 1960s, despite its struggles, NA began to grow slowly during this period, largely through the word of mouth and the commitment of dedicated members. And in 1983, that was the turning point for NA, with the publication of its own foundational text, Narcotics Anonymous.
So, this book, it provided structure to the program and into its principles, really a lot like AA's Big Book. And the core principles of NA adapted the 12-step program that was modeled after the AA, but its language, it removed um, references to alcohol, making it more inclusive for those struggling with really any kind of addiction. Really kind of outlined drug addiction, but you could really use the NA book for basically any kind of addiction.
Right. And here we should say NA members say drug of choice. Members prefer not to mention drugs by name as key principles included were the same as AA. But by the 1980s, NA began to experience rapid growth, and the publication of the basic text and increased public awareness of addiction and a disease contributed to its expansion.
So NA spread internationally and now has a presence in over 130 countries, with meetings that are conducted in numerous languages. NA, like AA, operates as a decentralized fellowship. Individual groups are autonomous, and there is no overarching authority or hierarchy.
Right. And anonymity remains a cornerstone of the program, ensuring members feel safe and supported. Today, NA offers hope and recovery to millions of people struggling with addiction. Its focus on inclusivity, addressing all forms of addiction, has made it a vital resource for individuals worldwide.
Yeah, so NA's success also underscores the effectiveness of peer support. And it's shaped by experience and commitment to personal growth. So NA continues to thrive, offering a judgment-free environment where members can find support, accountability, and a lifelong recovery.
Its slogan, Just for Today, reflects its emphasis on taking recovery one day at a time. Finding support through Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous meetings is a commendable step towards recovery. AA offers both in person and virtual meetings, and you can find a comprehensive list of meetings, including their times and locations, on the AA website for your area.
Narcotics Anonymous, or NA, it maintains an updated list of meetings on their website. So if you prefer to require a virtual meeting for either AA or NA, you can find an online meeting site. And to do this, Kat and I are going to kind of break it down for you. So to attend a virtual meeting, one, actually, if you prefer or require virtual meetings, you can do so online. Online, you have online options. To attend a meeting, you need to visit the appropriate website to find a meeting that fits your schedule and preference.
And two, note the meeting details, including time, location, or virtual meeting ID and passcode, and any specific instructions.
For virtual meetings, ensure you have the necessary software. If you're going to use Zoom or what is the other one? Teams, whatever it is, just make sure you have that installed on your device.
Remember, attending a meeting is a courageous step towards recovery. Both AA and NA communities are welcoming and supportive, providing a safe space for individuals seeking help.
Yeah, so don't be ashamed because you're going to be with other people that are recovering from addiction.
Right, you're
And
not alone.
yeah, they're there to help you. And then we're going to kind of shift gears here. Now we're going to talk about the history of Al-Anon, which is family groups, and it's closely intertwined with the history of AA, and it stems from the recognition that alcoholism or drug abuse impacts not only the person that is abusing these things, but also family and friends.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Mr. Ken Burns, welcome to the show.
What a wonderful podcast you have. It's great. I'm just honored to be able to hang out with you.
What if you could explore the most fascinating stories in history in less time than it takes to make your morning coffee? That's what we do on the History Shorts podcast. Every day, we bring you quick, powerful stories from the past. And every week, we go deeper with the people who bring history to life. Voices like Ken Burns, Dan Carlin, Malcolm Gladwell, and John Green. If you want history that's relevant and meaningful, History Shorts is your new daily ritual. Follow History Shorts wherever you get your podcasts.
So, Al Anon was founded in 1951 by Lois Wilson, the wife of AA co founder Bill Wilson, and Ann B., a close friend. Lois had experienced firsthand the struggles of living with an alcoholic and recognized the need for support for those affected by another person's drinking or substance abuse.
Oh, and again, it affects everybody, not just the individual. So prior to Al-Anon's official founding, many family members of alcoholics or or addicts in general, informally met alongside AA groups. And these early gatherings led to the foundation of what would later become known as Al Anon.
And Al Anon was established to provide support and guidance to the families and friends of alcoholics. But its primary focus is helping members cope with the effects of alcoholism on their lives, regardless of whether the alcoholic or the user seeks recovery.
So, like AA and NA, Al Anon adopted 12 steps, modifying them to focus on the challenges faced by family members of alcoholics. And I say again, Kat, we take on these 12 steps individually. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right, I'll go first. So, step one is admitting powerlessness. So, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol or drugs, that our lives had become unmanageable.
And step two, restoring sanity. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity.
And then step three, turning over our will, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him.
Step four, moral inventory. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves.
And step five, admitting wrongs, admitted to God, to ourselves, to other human beings, the exact nature of our wrongs.
Step six, becoming ready. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character.
Step seven, humbly asking Him to remove our shortcomings.
Step eight, making amends. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all.
And step nine, direct amends. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others.
Step 10, continued inventory. Continue to take personal inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it.
Step 11, prayer and meditation. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our consciousness contact with God as we understood Him.
Step 12, spiritual awakening. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others.
So, this program, it really emphasizes personal recovery, detachment with love, and letting go of attempts to control the alcoholics or users' behavior.
The first Al Anon groups were small and informal, often meeting alongside AA groups. As the need for such meetings became more apparent, groups began forming independently.
So, to support the growing number of groups, Al-Anon established its worldwide service office in New York City in 1954, and this provided structure and coordination for the fellowship.
Recognizing that children and teenagers of alcoholics and users faced unique challenges, Al Anon created Alateen in 1957 to specifically support younger family members.
Yeah, and Al-Anon published its first book to provide guidance and share stories from members in 1955.
One Day at a Time in 1968, this daily reader became one of Al Anon's most popular publications, offering inspiration and support for its members.
So by the 1960s, Al-Anon had spread internationally, with groups forming in countries around the world.
And today, Al Anon is present in more than 130 countries, offering meetings in multiple languages.
Al-Anon has helped millions of people cope with the effects of alcoholism and addiction on their lives.
It still provides a supportive, non-judgmental environment where members can share their experiences, find hope, and work on their own recovery.
So, Al Anon emphasizes that members are not responsible for the alcoholics or users' behavior or their own recovery.
And the program focuses on personal growth, self-care, and emotional healing, encouraging members to reclaim their lives.
So, anonymity is a cornerstone, ensuring members can share openly without fear of judgment. And I think that's the core part of all three, Al-Anon, AA, and NA, anonymity, right?
Absolutely. And Al Anon continues to serve as a vital resource for those affected by alcoholism or drug abuse, offering hope, understanding, and tools for living a healthier and more fulfilling life.
And we know some things were repetitive, and we know we repeated some things, but we really kind of wanted to give each program its own due.
Right. And remember, attending a meeting is a courageous step towards recovery.
Yeah, so don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. You know, there's other people that are going through the healing process as well.
Right.
AA, NA, Al-Anon, whatever. These communities they're so welcoming and so supportive, and they provide a safe space for individuals seeking help.
Drug addiction. Drug addiction is not a choice. It's a complex disease that affects the brain and body, and it can impact anyone regardless of background, age, or circumstance.
While drugs seem like an escape, they often lead to devastating consequences, from health complications to strained relationships, not to mention the financial struggles. But there is hope.
Recovery is possible and help is available. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, reach out to professionals, support groups, or loved ones who care. Seeking help is a sign of strength and not weakness.
Yeah, remember, you are not alone.
There is always a path to healing. For resources and support, visit SAMHSA or call their national helpline at 1-800-662-HELP or 1-800-662-4357.
And we'll make sure we drop it in the show notes. So, I thought this was a very powerful episode that we done.
Yeah, I think one of the episodes coming up, we should do the disease of addiction and how it becomes a disease.
Yeah, like how it can be hereditary or something like that. Absolutely, I agree with that. Maybe the disease of addiction.
Right.
I think there are more people that struggle with addiction than what is reported. And I think we all know someone that, you know, f- I think, what is the words I'm looking for? I don't even know.
Nobody is immune to the devastating consequences of addiction.
Absolutely. And we know people that have passed away from overdoses, and it has a devastating toll on not the family members that are connected to that person, but the people that are connected to the person that was connected to them. Like it is a ripple effect. It's like dropping a drop of water in a lake, and it just ripples out to the shore. It affects so many different people in so many different facets.
Right. Exactly. Um, you know, if you would like to support this podcast, tell a friend and help get the word out.
Yeah, if you would like to help us keep the show going, you can do so at Patreon. You can find the link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Email us at,
Info on the Go podcast at gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.